Hello everybody and welcome to Radiant Path Gaming. I am your host and GM, Eddie, and today we're going to get into some more solo RPGs with ShadowDark. Alright everybody, I'm going to do a few minute recap here of the first episode for those who might have missed it or just want a refresher, but if you want to skip this because you're pretty familiar with it, I'll have a chapter down below. You can just skip to that timestamp. You'll see it there. It's a little line or a chapter down below in the description. You can jump right to where we get into the next session. Alright, so here's a quick recap on what happened last time. Alright, we are on the continent of Solera. We zoom in on the Eternal Embrace Festival that is taking place in a nice forest here. It's a bright, hot, humid day. And we have our main two heroes, very selfish heroes. They're not heroes at all. But we got Falman Under Anvil, who is a wizard, and someone who is kind of obsessed with power and wealth and basically selfish in every sense of the word, right? And his sidekick, Percy Shortfield, who is a medic and someone who likes to deal with alchemy and this kind of thing, and he's his sidekick, and the two of them together are going to get into some wild adventures, I'm sure, right? Well, Falman is a merchant and a trader. He likes to acquire goods along his journeys and then sell them at fairs and festivals to try to make a big profit and further his wealth. So he's got his booth set up and he was trying to sell his wares when he looks across at his rival, Anvis Whiteworth, longtime rival of Falman. Now, the two of them got their booth set up, and Falman's booth is insignificant. There's hardly anybody coming to his booth, but he looks over at his rivals, and he's packed. He's got all kinds of magical wares and things there, and, you know, it just immediately triggers Falman. Falman, being the stubborn dwarf that he is, makes his way over there, getting ready to come up with some form of revenge, when Percy catches up and kind of tries to talk him out of it. Doesn't work, so then they come to the agreement, sort of, that Falman is going to go over and he's going to steal something. But he's not very good at stealth and he knows that, so despite his rage, he's going to get Percy to cause a distraction. Percy makes his way over to where there's a live theatrical performance happening of like some historic event, right? And Percy gets up on the stage and he decides that he's going to act as if he's like a drunkard getting up on stage and ruining the play, right? To cause his massive distraction. He does so with extreme effect, and with that, Falman dives in, sneaks around, goes up and tries to steal some wares from his rival, but is unsuccessful. And someone in the crowd starts shouting, "Thief, thief, we need the guards," at the same time as the guards are shouting out that the theatrical performance is being ruined by Percy, so all the guards are on alert and making their way here. However, a crazy event begins to happen as a red dragon swoops overhead, sets the festival ablaze as he comes around for another pass. Now, during this time, our two protagonists are trying to escape. They're dodging and weaving through the crowd pretty successfully, but then they hit a roadblock, and at this point they turn and then they try to make their way out. The dragon makes its way back, lands, swings around, and when he does, his tail hits debris, sends it all in the direction of both Percy and Falman. Luckily, Falman was able to get his mage armor up in time. It deflects the hit, and Percy was not so successful and actually got clobbered by a human body, partially flaming human body, knocked him to the ground. And he took some significant damage from that. While this was happening, the red dragon was piercing down at a group of warlocks who were carrying a chest, and inside this chest was a large magical book of some kind. Now, that book, we found out the name of the book when the dragon shouted. The dragon shouted out to the warlocks to leave the immortal Echo's tome behind. And surprisingly, the warlocks refuse. Because I rolled a friggin' 100, right? That's why. So, exceptional, no, they were not, under any circumstances, going to give this book over to a dragon. I mean, these are like level 1 warlocks or so, and they're up against a level 17 dragon, but that's it. So, we'll find out why they're willing to sacrifice their life without giving up this book in time. That's pretty much all we know about that. We know that their leader, Ashbourne, grabbed the book and took off, was trying to hide, was doing so unsuccessfully when we last seen the dragon piercing down at him. But with that, we had our two protagonists. What am I going to call them? I can't figure out, man. They're not heroes, so I can't. I'm so used to saying our heroes, but they're not heroes, and I don't want to say villains. They're not villains, so I just got to keep saying protagonists are. If you guys can comment below, let me know what word to use. But either way, I'll figure out a word as we go. But otherwise, they were just starting to run off into the tree line and hopefully, to get away. All right, everybody. So I just looked it up. Anti-heroes. That's the term I'm going to go with. Somebody who's not quite a hero, not quite a villain, but they're the main protagonist. They're an anti-hero. So that's the term. Are anti-heroes. Okay. So we got the opening scene here. Now, the way this works with the mythic generator is I have to assume what is expected to happen. Well, right now I need to control Falman and Percy, and both of them are essentially just running for their lives. They're just trying to get clear of this festival, this whole situation with the dragons and the warlocks, and they're just trying to get to a safe place. That being said, though, I'm thinking Falman. He's fearful of his life, of course he is, but his obsession with wealth and power and the fact that he thinks that this could be of some significant importance if it attracted the attention of a red dragon, he's going to get clear, but I don't think he's going to just fully just run out into the woods to get out of here. So my expectation is for him to get to a clearing in the woods or like a hidden area, and where he can actually look in, still have eyesight to the festival, and see what's going on between the dragon and the warlock, right? So that's my expected scene, but we need to determine if it goes as expected. I forgot to do this in the very first session because I'm learning this system, but scene alteration. So the chaos rank is currently 6, so we got to roll, and we'll determine, this is basically to determine if the scene is going to go as expected. I'm picturing Falman and Percy just getting to hide off in the forest and watch this whole event take place. Let's see. Okay, interruption event. NPC action. Okay. Neglect plans. Whoo, okay. Now I got a brainstorm. Okay, so this inspired some good idea for me. So we got Falman and Percy. They're rushing towards the tree line, and with that, the red dragon, in a fit of rage, just lets out a deafening roar once again, and then turns and behind it and just breathes an arc of breath, fire breath once again, burning everything that's behind it. In doing so, the heat and the flame passes overhead, searing the treetops, causing them to cinder, and with that big infernal flamethrower blast that the dragon did, both Falman and Percy are interrupted during the run, and they didn't get nearly as far as they wanted. They wanted to get to the point where they could run so far that they would be at the edge of the forest and just barely be able to see what was going on. Instead, they only make it about 20 feet before they're forced to dive into some bushes, and they're not far. They're only, say, 50, 60 feet away now from where this is going down. So that's what happened for those two. So as for NPC action, neglect, and plans, this is where it's going to get good. We've already determined that the red dragon clearly has his eyes down on Ashbourne, knows that he has what he seeks. And with that, Ashbourne, despite trying to stealth, realizes that that's it. He's done for. There's no getting out of this now. So he crawls out from under the canopy that he was trying to hide from, realizing he's unsuccessful, as he stands there staring up in fear and awe of this massive red dragon in front of him. Now, I think at this point we need to determine the red dragon's name. So I've created a red dragon name table in advance before this session because I figured this would come up at some point. So what do we got? Okay, here we go. Monster names, dragon, red names. All right, got 50 options in here. Let's see what we get. Whoa, what'd we get? We got Valros the Flame Tyrant. Okay, sounds good to me. All right, let me update that. All right, so here's where we got to pull on the GM emulator to help take over a little. So now here's what I'm thinking with neglect. It was Alfred Ashbourne's duty. He made a pact with some kind of powerful entity, right, which we'll determine soon, that it was his responsibility to protect this book, right, which contains some kind of powerful secrets and magic, which he neglected to do so. So I feel like Ashbourne and his group of warlocks were on a mission to try to bolster their ranks and bring more people in to their, whatever their warlock group is, that was part of the pact, right, to get more bodies and souls into their cult or whatever it is that they have going on. And he neglected and failed to do so. So let's get a name for this warlock group, shall we? And I love random tables, okay? So let's go in here now, and I created one myself with 50 different options for what the warlocks can be called. Randomly roll it. The Hallowed Pack. I like it. Okay. Alright everybody, so using my Into the Shadowlands supplement by House DM again, there is a Warlock class in here, so which I'm going to use for Alfred Ashbourne. Now, there's a number of packs in here, and normally, you know me, I'd like to randomly determine a lot of things. However, based on the direction this game is going, there's Arcane Pact, Blood Pact, Grave, or Steel Pact. And I feel like Grave Pact is more fitting with this Festival of the Dead, the Book of Possible Immortality. So I'm just going to straight up pick Grave Pact because I think that's going to work much better. Okay, so I'm flicking through the book here, looking at the different types of monsters and things like that to determine the Hallowed Pact. Now, what is it and who is it that they worship, right? Like, what is their patron, essentially? And so there's a lot of different options that are pretty cool, but I feel like let's ask the game, all right? So the Game Master to determine. I feel it is going to be a Lich, a powerful Lich. Since going with the whole theme of the Hallowed Pact and the types of warlocks that they are to do with the dead and immortality and things like that, it makes sense that their leader would be a powerful Lich, right? So let's ask the fate question to determine. I'm going to put in nearly certain that their patron is a Lich. I think that's, but we'll give the dice a chance to determine, and the answer is yes, it is. Okay, so interesting. Okay, everybody, I just threw together a Lich name generator. I feel like at this point, this is important. 50 different options. Let's see what we get. Belthoron, Deathcaller. Okay, Belthoron. Is that how you say that? Yeah, I think so. Belthoron. All right, you know what? I'm going to slightly tweak that to Belthoria. Belthoria Deathcaller. I think a female Lich would be cool, right? Because traditionally, every Lich I've seen has been male. Has there been female Liches? I don't know, but I'm going to make one. Okay, Valeros now, standing amidst the ruins of this festival, everything around ablaze and on fire. A few of the scattered remaining warlocks are picking themselves up after being knocked prone, and a few of them are ignited on fire as they run around screaming in agony. Ashbourne, kneeling in defeat, looks up to see nothing but steam as massive nostrils just finished breathing out fire breath, staring down at him, piercing dragon eyes. Now this dragon is huge, if I haven't already said that. Takes up like half the encampment. So you can imagine what is going through Ashbourne's mind at this moment. He looks up with a face of defeat and says, "At least give me the name of the beast that will see my end. I am known by many names. In these lands, I am known as Valeros the Flame Tyrant, and that tome will now be mine." With this big hefty book now in Ashbourne's arms, he ponders to himself, and based on last roll of 100 extreme no, holds this big book to his chest and just stares up at this dragon in defiance. "Deathcaller, I have failed you." As Valeros' head rears back, its jaws open, about to lunge forward and snap Ashbourne in half. Okay, at this moment I'm hopping over because I want to determine if something epic is going to happen here. I have an idea. Will Belthoria Deathcaller, will the Lich show up to defend? Maybe, not so much, I guess, defend Ashbourne. More or less show up to protect her book. Let's ask a fate question, shall we? So, I will say that it is very likely. It is a powerful artifact, and I can imagine that this Lich is you know, scrying all the times and well aware of its powerful relics around the world, was probably alerted here, especially when, you know, they called out her name. So let's see. Will Belethora arrive? Let's go. Very likely. So not certain or anything like that, but we'll go with very... Okay. Exceptional, yes. Okay, what does that mean to me? That means that she's just not going to show up to, like, get her book. She's going to show up and throw down with the dragon. Right? She's going to show up and show who's boss. Oh my god. Okay. All right, I got to go grab the stats for a fire dragon and a lich. Whew. Belethora, the undead lich, appears bursting out of shadow behind and flying above Valeros, the fire dragon. Belethora is not your typical wizard lich here. She's wearing more of a heavier, almost plate-like or chainmail-like armor, and she's wielding a sword, unlike what a normal wizard would use. Highly detailed and intricate attire with flowing purple robes, a skeletal mask with 2 black eye sockets, one of which lit up with a faint red glow. Now, before we dive into a battle, I think I need to figure out the other thing of the interrupted event, which I'm finally remembering to get back to now, is plans. Now, to me, that means the red dragon had plans for this book. Why? Why does this dragon want the book? We need to try to figure out a reason why, so let's try to look and pull on the GM emulator to try to find out the motivation, right? Okay, so right over here we have motivations. Oh, emojis. Okay, free and reveal. Okay, the book will reveal to Valeros how to set him free of his mortal constraints. So he's a powerful dragon, right? But he wants to be more than that. Like all dragons, they just crave more power and riches and wealth and immortality and everything. Most dragons are pretty much immortal anyways. They live for so many tens of thousands of years or whatever. But I'm thinking he can shed his mortal shell and can be more than that. So he can travel to other planes of existence. Right? Because why would this dragon now, if he knows there's a way that he doesn't need to be bound to this particular realm, his particular flesh and blood that he has, that he can become more than that, then of course he's going to want that, right? Alright everybody, we're about to get into this epic battle. Now, real quick, before we do, I do notice that, like, this story right now is kind of focusing on what's going on over here with Ashbourne and this dragon and this lich and all this kind of thing, right? So it's kind of taken away a little bit from our main characters, but not really, because I feel like we'll be able to tie these events into Falman and Percy shortly, right? These are like some crazy events that they're witnessing happening here, and I'm just going with the flow as it happens. So we'll definitely tie in Falman and Percy into this. As you can see, they're hiding in the bushes over there, watching this go down. Alright, Falman and Percy dive into the bushes as they scrabble and get into place, and they look up at this chaos in front of them. Falman, why are we stopping? We gotta run. We gotta go. We gotta get out of here. Falman replies, Glad, don't be so hasty. Look at what lies in front of us. The potential that's here. Hold on. Percy clearly seems shit-baked here, as he's like, he wants to be anywhere but here in this bush. Falman, on the other hand, is staring intently, taking it all in. Falman, as he's piercing through the branches, is like, Percy, what was that they mentioned about the immortal Echo Tome? That it must be of some great power. That interests me. Percy looks back to him. Aye, but don't you think we're a little in over our head here? Come on now, come on. This is madness. Falman, the madness. Let's get out of here. But Falman, no. His obsession in life is to gain power, right? And recognition. And what better way to do so, possibly, than what? Draw the attention of these great forces here at play. Alright, everybody, I'm only bringing in Valeros and Belethora into this because I feel like the other ones are not going to get involved. They're all level 1s. This is way out of their league. So, yeah, let's just quickly roll all. See who gets to act next. Well, I guess technically... Okay, so yeah, blasting in with that shadowy teleport and flight and all that kind of thing as an action. So now with Belethora floating above Valeros, Belethora gets to act first. Alright, and seeing as how she teleported directly above and pretty much in close range to this dragon, she gets 2 touch attacks as well as 2 spells per turn. So let's see what happens. Alright, so I just noticed I'm missing some of the actual features from a Lich. So I'm going to use the default Lich from the book, from the ShadowDark book. That being said, I might add to this more when I get more time later now to comb over it and kind of make, you know, Belthora a little bit more unique than the regular Lich in the book. But for now, for this initial ambush, just because, we're just going to use this. So let's go. Let's see what happens. Touch attack. Normal attack. No advantage. Whoa, what happened? Oh my god. Right at the gate with a nat 20. Whoo. Okay. Alright, and let's determine the con now. DC 15 con or paralyzed for a D4 rounds. Okay, so let's see here. What do we got? Con check. He's got +4 to con. No other special abilities that help. +4 DC 15. Oh yeah, completely saves against the paralyzation effect. However, massive damage. 19 damage. Whew. Boom. Massive 19. Big chunk comes out of that. What a way to open up. So, for the first attack, Belthora obviously just teleports appears. The dragon is startled. Belthora puts her death-like hands on the side of the neck, the back part of the long neck of the dragon, and with that Lich undead power, it just, the touch alone is enough to cause devastation. And surely it does. Alright, withering away a ton of his life force. Now, second attack. Let's go. Ooh, not good enough. Not good enough. This one, with only a 9, I'm going to say that with the immediate jerk reaction that it would have after taking so much damage, when the second hand goes to hit, it just whiffs and misses completely. But now, the Lich has a chance to cast a spell. What spell? What spell? Okay, so this one only works on level 9 or less. Teleport. Null is against magic spells. This dragon don't have any spells. And Wither. Okay, so there is a spell I can do. Let's cast it and see. Normal. Natty 1! Oh no. Oh no. On spell casting, that's a magic mishap. The dice gods giveth with the nat 20, and then they take away with a nat 1. I love it. Okay. Wizard mishap table. D12, everybody, in the book. Let's find out what happens. Roll. 12. Okay. Okay. This is either extremely good or bad. Shred. You tear a large hole in the fabric of the universe close to you. The lightless tear grows larger every round. What? This Lich is tapping into powers, more power than it should have access to. And in trying to conjure up and use the power to channel this spell, it befuddles the incantation. And in doing so, tears a hole in reality. Actually, let's try to determine a little bit on what type of rip in reality this will turn out to be. Okay, whipping up the mythic emulator here. What can we use? Descriptors? Let's try descriptors and see what comes with this. Beautifully bizarre. Okay, I like it. Through the jagged tear in the fabric of reality, a vision of cosmic dread unfolds. A mesmerizing nebula stretches across the void like the entrails of a colossal celestial beast. Deep purples and haunting blues dominate the scene, swirling together in a turbulent dance that hints at unspeakable horrors that lurk within. Well, after that crazy opening turn for Belthora, we're going to hop over to Valeros, the Flame Tyrant, who now wants to exact some revenge, right? Okay, so let's see how he does so. Well, pretty straight to the point. He either can do 1 fire breath attack, and that's it, or 4 rend attacks. He's definitely going to go with the 4 rends here. So, let's go. Now, I will point out, these two are totally outclassed. Like, the dragon is level 17, and the Lich is 13. But, you know what? It is what it is. So, Here comes the first attack. Why did it roll 2d20s? Or 2d... Oh, it's 2d12 attack! Okay. Well, yeah, a 30 hits. So we're going to hit this for 15 damage. Now, it does say here, Belthora's attacks, immune to morale checks, only damaged by magical sources, but to me, a dragon is a magical creature, so it can deal damage with its claws. Alright, so, huge chunk comes off Belthora. Second rend attack. 15 is not enough. Oh, we got a 16 armor class over here on Belthora. Actually, I should increase that. I feel like I should increase that because Belthora is wearing plate armor, which a normal Lich does not, right? Now, normally plate in this is just a set 15, but the fact that a Lich in this is just supposed to be a wizard, and the wizard itself has just an AC of 16 wearing no armor, no nothing. All I'm simply going to do is just increase the AC on Belthora by 2, increase it to 18. It's just a +2 because this Lich in particular is heavily armored, you know, in like almost plate armor, like a light form of plate armor. So either way, I would have missed because I had 16 there anyways. But okay, so second attack misses. We'll get into, I'll describe it in just a moment. Third attack, roll a 3, only a 14 total. Dragon whiff, and this dragon could have like killed it in one round here. Okay, and fourth attack. Oh, a 30 definitely hits. 18 damage. Boom. Oh, okay. Valero spins around and snaps with the first attack, taking a huge chunk out of Belthora. Well, can you take a chunk out of a Lich wearing plate armor? No. But you know what I mean. Essentially just hits her so hard that buckles some of the armor, some bones crack underneath. Brutal hit. After that, it follows up with 2 big claw attacks. Miss. And it's not that like this thing normally would miss anything else with these high rolls of 15 and 14. But no, it is just the quickness, the undead, unnatural quickness and evasiveness of this Lich as it's flying through the air. As they miss. And then the third and final one, I'm going to say his tail comes up around and smacks Belthora. Once again, buckling her, sending her jolting through the air with a heavy blow. She is now below half her total HP pool immediately, right out the gate. Whew. As another few seconds go by, that tear in reality stretches and now rips across enough that it's covering the whole length of the festival. As it rips and tears, it's leaving behind some kind of window into a world or realm in which nobody here has ever seen before. In a small state of panic, Percy nudges Valmon, and it's like, "Do you see that? What is that happening? What is happening here?" Valmon replies, "Oh, things are definitely getting out of hand. What is that? They're tearing apart everything that we know." Now I want to see at the top of the round, what would Ashbourne, it was Ashbourne who would use this opportunity to sneak away. I feel like he could do it. Alright, I'm going to see if Ashbourne can take advantage of this chaos and stealth away during this confusion. Right? Good chance he will be able to. Now, I haven't created the stats for Ashbourne yet, so let me just quickly roll his stats now. Alright, let's quickly roll them up since I got you here, right? Let's just figure this out. This will be strength. Whatever his highest stat is, I'm going to have to move it to whatever the warlock stat is, though. So I'm going to juggle his lowest stat with his highest stat with whatever the warlock class attribute is. You know what I mean? Okay, dexterity, which is what I need to determine how good he is at stealth thing. Okay, so see, well, he's going to get a plus. What's his con? 12. Intellect. Oh my god, this guy. And wisdom. And the last one. So 13. Well, he's not even good enough to be a character. Oh, my nerves. Okay, well, what's his main stat supposed to be as a warlock? Okay, so the main stat you get to choose between intellect or charisma. So, since this guy is meant to be somebody, I'm going to say, well, he's a leader type, so it'll probably be charisma, right? That's how he's managed to influence his way to get where he is. Which means his intellect's going to have to stay that he's not very bright, though. So that said, I'm just going to keep rolling until I get a stat that's 14 plus to determine what his charisma is. Nope. Nope. Triple eights, really? Come on, we gotta have one stat, 14 plus, or I don't get the... Okay, he's destined to be awful. Okay, so bare minimum, 14. Okay. Okay, so I did all that just so I can determine what his dexterity is, so we can know if he can sneak away here on scene. So we'll give him advantage, given the situation. The dragon is greatly distracted. Okay, so now we're going to determine if Valeros is able to spot, during all this chaos, Ashbourne sneaking off with the book. Wisdom is for perception. DC will be 15. Nat 1. Obviously not. I love how the dice sometimes makes it work out, right? Okay, so with that, Ashbourne stealths off with that book. Now, the question is, will our heroes follow our anti-heroes? I think so. If they're seeing, they're watching intently, right? So they're keeping eyes on all of them, right? And now they see, do they see it? Well, I guess during the confusion we should roll for them as well, right? So fair is fair. Let's go. Let's find out if Falmir can beat DC 15 to spot Ashbourne sneaking off with the book. Normal roll. Does not. Okay, up next is Percy. Does Percy spot DC 15? Wisdom roll. Yes! Okay, with a +0 is able to beat it. So, Percy and Falvin here, they notice that Ashbourne is sneaking off with the book, using this opportunity created by his master, this amazing distraction, and he's stealthily sneaking off, right? Dashing out of the camp and running off towards a tree line. And now, the dwarf here, Falman, does not notice it. As the tear in reality continues, Percy is like, Falman, is that supposed to happen? Is it supposed to keep getting larger? Falman replies, damned if I know, lad, but I think we got time. We can see this out a little longer. With Percy being able to spot Ashbourne running away, he knows this is his opportunity to try to get his ass out of here. Percy nudges Falman in the leg once again to get his attention. It's like, Falman, do you see it? The robed one, with the book. There, he's getting away. We should chase him. It sounded like the book is what's important, right? We should go. Falman takes one last look at the scene before realizing, you know what? His partner's probably right here. And he's like, all right, I think you're right. Let's make haste and catch up to that bastard. I want that book. These two now are making their way in pursuit of Ashbourne and that ancient relic of a book. Okay, so now we hop back, and I think that Belthora is aware of what's happening with that book. Just because she's constantly, I'm going to say that she's, well, let's find out. Is she always in sync with Ashbourne? I've been kind of playing up for that, so I'd like to say, I'm going to say at this point, very likely that she's constantly in sync with Ashbourne. Like they have some kind of like psychic link on the go here. Yes, okay. So that good. I wanted to, instead of me just making it all up, that's the whole point. Every now and again, I'm going to be trying to call on the GM emulator to make a determination. So that means Belthora is aware that Ashbourne is escaping with the book. And with that, she is going to try and lure this dragon further away. Okay, we're going to open up with Belthora's touch attacks, because if she can land any of these, then yeah, she can actually paralyze this dragon, which would be huge. So here comes the first attack. Oh my, no. Okay, with the nat 1, I'm going to say with that critical failure, I'm just going to throw that into the second touch attack here now is going to be at disadvantage. So odds are you're not hitting with the second touch attack. No. Alright, so the first attack is she tries to lunge forward once again and just grab any part of the dragon she can to put her death touch on it. And in doing so, actually gets clipped by the dragon's movement as one of its horns torques around and hits her and knocks her off, and she like scrabbles to try to touch again with a second touch attack during that brief moment. Doesn't work, right? Both touch attacks fail. So now, both Belthora and Valeros have a fly speed of double near, which is 60 feet. So Belthora at this point is flying in the opposite direction of where Ashbourne is running for 60 feet. And once she gets there, she is going to turn and cast a spell. I'm going to cast a spell. Now, I was not going to make her teleport away yet because I feel like she needs to create a longer distraction to give Ashbourne more time to get away with that relic. Plus, she's not worried of anything because Liches have the ability here of, what is it called? They can't be killed while their spirit vessel, which is an object, is intact. Man, that's nowhere around here. So while that's intact, now I'm not going to make the book it, no, because she wouldn't trust a level 1 character with the book that is the key to her immortality. So that's not going to happen. So it's some other object elsewhere, which we can determine later. But at this point, she can't be killed anyways, so she got nothing to fear. And the spell Wither is gone. Sigil of Doom only works on a 9 or less. Shadow Leap. Okay. Well, she could do that. Yeah, she doesn't have any other offensive spells. Man, I gotta improve her later, right? Because she's meant to be a little bit of higher level. Give her other spells later. But for the time being, she's just gonna try and Shadow Leap a little bit further away to kind of make this dragon kind of move extra further to dash to catch up. So, let's see if Shadow Leap goes off. That is a success. The DC on it was 14, and I rolled an 18, so success. So she flies off around 60 feet, and as she's flying, just turns into shadow and then reappears. Reapparates, is that the word? Either way, just slightly out of the thing's range. You know, she's assuming, okay, I'm going to go an extra 20 feet, right? An extra 20 feet away. And just reappears and turns and is like taunting this dragon. Now, the question is, what would Valeros concern more? He's more concerned with the book, but he's also a fire dragon, and fire dragons are filled with pride and rage, and they can't be bested by anyone. So I'm going to try to determine using, I'm not going to use stats for this. I was thinking about making an intellect test or something, but no, because he is super smart anyway. So it's not about being smart; it's about being filled with rage and pride, right? So let's pull up the mythic generator here and let's see what we can come up with. Okay, will Valeros continue his attack? That book is super important to him, but he almost got this thing dead. He almost got the Lich dead. So I'm gonna say it is likely. It's likely that he's going to continue to attack until he kills it. So likely is never good. There's like, just so you know, there's likely, very likely, nearly certain, certain. So I'm just going to go with likely. Yes. So Valeros will continue his attack and pursuing after the Lich. So with that, Valeros leaps into the air. Wings flap. It makes up its 60 ground move, but then, since the Lich is about 20 more feet away, I'm going to say when he gets there, rather than pursue, let's do his Dragon Breath, and let's find out what kind of effect that has, right? Yeah. I was thinking the combat was going to be over, and I was going to narrate it, but maybe not. Let's see. We'll hop over here, and we'll try out the Dragon Breath. So it fills a double near-sized, that's 30-foot range, yep, cube extending from the dragon. Okay. So, DC 15 dex or a ton of damage. Whew, okay. So, DC 15 dexterity. Let's go. That is a fail. Okay. So, how much damage does it say? 6d10 damage. D10, 6d10. Let's roll it up. 37. Okay, so if I go with 37, that's enough. Valorous, realizing that he'll be out of reach, instead decides to just release a torrent of flame in the Lich's direction. Direct hit, sears the Lich to a point, just bursts into a explosion of ash and shadow, and then there's nothing that remains. Now, what happens with Belthora's body? Well, we'll see. Can't be killed, so I'm assuming it's going to reanimate or be recreated, or its essence is still there in some manner, right? So we'll find out more on how Belthora will come back to life later. Belthora's suit of plate armor, now smoldering, falls from the sky and crashes down into the ground, and what's left of the festival smoldering mixed in with the flames. I will say that there's at least one member of the Hallowed Pack still alive in this chaos and ruins, and that warlock now sees that its masters just got obliterated and its armor fell to the ground. It knows that that armor is of importance and significance to their master, and is going to make their way over to get that armor, to retrieve it during the smoldering ruins. Now, during this time, we got Ashbourne fleeing now deep into the forest with a heavy tree canopy above him, and in pursuit, we have our two anti-heroes now, chasing after as far as their little dwarven and halfling legs can go. Well, in this, they all move the same speed, but they're sprinting afterwards to keep pace. I think that's where we'll wrap up the scene, with the three of them fleeing deep into the forest to get away from the dragon's wrath, while Valorous is out there, you know, reveling in his victory over this Lich, easily defeated this Lich for a brief moment before it snaps out of it and realizes its whole purpose for being here. And now it is in pursuit and trying to find out, where did that tome go? Okay, everybody, a little bit of bookkeeping here at the end. We just need to determine if there was any new characters introduced. I'll just correct their name. It's no longer Red Dragon. It's Valorous the Flame Tyrant. And we also now have the character of Belthora Deathcaller, right? Okay, NPC list is growing. I like it. All right, so now for the thread list, this is where we put down what the PCs, our two anti-heroes, are trying to pursue. They want the Immortal Echo Tomb. They probably also want to learn more about the Hallowed Pack, the group of warlocks, because they might have more knowledge into this, on, you know, how to get such power that they crave. Now, also, I feel like I'm just going to throw in wealth and power as a generic one, so that if it ever does come up during an adventure, I can have something where something might throw them off course a little bit, because, you know, that's what they're after, is wealth and power. Now we go with the chaos factor, and were the players in control of that scene? I'm feeling like, no, they weren't in. They were hardly a part of that scene, to be honest, which is unfortunate for our main two heroes here, but I just had to play out that. I feel like that is setting the foundation. It's almost like the opening scene of a movie, you know what I mean? So it's like this dramatic, big, epic, two titans kind of going at it, but with purpose. But now, as you can tell, they're going to have purpose because they're pursuing after that book. But so no, they were not in control of that scene. I had to think about it a little bit, but no, we're going to increase the chaos factor up to 7, and that's it. Alright everybody, the next episode will be here on the screen if it's available at this time. Otherwise, if you enjoyed it, be sure to hit the like button, comment down below, let me know your thoughts on the adventure, share this with your friends if you want to help this channel grow, and as always, stay in the light.